This short presentation offers some suggestions about how to prepare for take-home exams and also offers some strategies for successfully writing a take-home exam. Let's start in a good way with the territorial acknowledgement. The University of Manitoba campuses are located on the original lands of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and on the homeland of the Métis Nation. My name is Natalie Caitler, and I work as a lead writing tutor at the Academic Learning Centre. The Academic Learning Centre supports U of M students in the development of their skills in writing, studying, and learning. This slide shows the Academic Learning Centre website, where you can access supports and services, including workshops, both live and recorded, one-to-one tutoring in writing, study skills, and content for select courses, facilitated study groups or supplemental instruction, English as an additional language supports, as well as tip sheets related to academic writing, grammar, time management, and more. Students can make an appointment online with an ALC tutor. Be sure to use the drop-down menu to choose the right schedule and read the biographies of the tutors to choose the right tutor for your needs. A take-home exam, in contrast to an in-person invigilated exam, is written outside of a supervised exam room. During take-home exams, students are free to access resources such as their textbook and/or course notes. Typically, students are allowed more time to complete a take-home exam than an in-person exam. Rather than write during a set 3-hour period, students have a few days, or sometimes up to a week, to submit their exam. Students should be sure they understand the time frame. They must also be aware of their schedules so they can complete the exam even if they have other tests or assignments that are due, or work or family commitments. Students should pay attention to the instructor's expectations about how long they should work on their take-home exam. 5 hours, 15 minutes. Your instructor will also identify expectations about how much a student should write, 1 page for each question or 4 pages for each question. Although there are some differences between take-home exams and in-person exams, there are also some similarities. Because they will have access to their course materials, some students assume that take-home exams do not require much preparation. But to be successful, students should study and prepare much like they would for an in-person invigilated exam. For example, students should review the intended learning outcomes or course objectives that are found on the course syllabus. This will help identify which course content is most important and deserves more time and review. Students should read and follow exam instructions carefully. And they should be careful to maintain academic integrity. When writing a take-home exam, students must maintain academic integrity by only accessing permitted resources. Academic Learning Center tutors will only work with students on take-home tests or exams if the instructor has provided written permission for this kind of help. The University of Manitoba takes academic integrity seriously. Please see the U of M website about academic integrity for information and resources about how to avoid plagiarism, cheating on quizzes, tests, or final exams, inappropriate collaboration, duplicate submission, and personation. Because students have more time and are allowed to access, consult, and use class materials, including textbooks and lecture notes, questions on take-home exams are often more complex and more challenging than those on an in-person invigilated exam. Students will have to stay on task over a much longer period of time, and they will have to draw on higher order cognitive skills like analysis, synthesis, and evaluation, rather than lower order skills such as recalling definitions, matching items, or filling in the blanks. Take-home tests may ask a student to evaluate an argument or to analyze a new text or problem using frameworks from the course. Or students may be asked to synthesize their own learning in a course by responding to questions about what changed in their thinking, what questions remain, and what idea they want to explore further. How can students prepare for a take-home exam? Know what to expect on the exam, especially the start and end times of the exam. This is particularly important for students taking the exam from outside of Manitoba. Remember, UM-Learn and the official exam schedule are set in the Central Time Zone. Students should also find out how they will get access to the exam. Is it through UM-Learn? And be sure you understand how to submit the exam once it's completed. In addition, know what to expect on the exam in terms of the content that will be covered and tested. Will content from class lectures, textbooks, and labs be included equally? What has the instructor emphasized or stressed as important? Access to class materials, including textbooks and lecture notes, means that students might be expected to draw widely on material from the entire course. Students should be sure they understand their instructor's expectations about citing course materials. How should students cite the course materials, including textbooks, lecture notes, or PowerPoint slides? Students should also understand whether they should rely solely on course materials or if they're expected to find and cite additional sources. Also, know what to expect on the exam in terms of format. What kind or type of question will be asked? Multiple choice? Fill in the blank? Short answer? Are students expected to write essay-length responses? What is the weighting of the exam? Plan how you will spend your time on each question in advance. How much is the exam worth related to your final grade? Decide how much time you will spend preparing for the exam. Study for a take-home exam, much like you would study for a regular in-person invigilated exam. You might begin by creating a list of topics or concepts that are likely to be included in the exam. Use the course syllabus and consult the textbook table of contents to help create this list. Gather and organize the course material. Organize your lecture notes by reducing or condensing notes where possible and making sure that notes are clearly organized using post-it notes as tabs and/or highlighting key information so that it's easy to find. Mark your textbook. Make notes in the margins of your textbook as you read, summarize the main points, and identify key information with sticky flags. Print PowerPoint slides if possible and organize them according to topic. Finally, synthesize lecture notes, textbook content, and PowerPoint slides all together according to topic or concept, and create mind maps or charts. Practice retrieving information by testing yourself. Put away your class materials and write or draw everything you know. Be as thorough as possible, and then check your class materials for accuracy and fill in any gaps. Write practice tests such as those found at the end of chapters in books, in study guides, or in online course supports. Create your own practice questions or flashcards. Make sure your questions go beyond definitions. Think about connections between concepts and applications for theories or approaches. Compare and contrast ideas. Come up with new examples. Retrievals should be hard. Practice with a classmate by quizzing each other. Recode information. Come up with different ways to represent important information. For example, you could create a chart, graph, infographic, or diagram, or write a paragraph about a chart or graph. Elaborate key concepts by asking how and why questions while studying and write out the answers. Explain how ideas are similar and different. Describe how ideas or course concepts apply to your own experiences. Write about how course concepts apply to your own life. You can also prepare by creating a one-page reference sheet. Include all the formulas you might need. This is especially useful for any problem-solving based tests or exams. Create a list of definitions for key terms, key thinkers, key themes, and key concepts. This list will reduce the load on your working memory during the exam, so you'll be able to focus on applications. Check all technology well ahead of time to make sure that it works and you can access and submit your exam during the designated time. For example, check to make sure you can access your email account, and check to make sure you can access your Learn account. Check to make sure that the device you will be using, for example your laptop, desktop, or tablet, is compatible with Learn. Check that you have sufficient bandwidth and turn off any programs that could reduce available bandwidth. Consult U of M resources, such as this website about final exam supports for students for more information about tech requirements. If you don't have access to a computer, contact your instructor immediately. In addition to testing your technology in advance, have easy access to UM Tech Support contact information in case something goes wrong. If your exam is in progress and you need immediate support, call 204-474-8600 or call the toll-free in North America number 1-844-626-1756 and press 5 for fast service. UM experts will be available to provide immediate service and a quick resolution to your inquiry. Don't wait to the very last minute to write or submit your exam. Allow yourself enough time to get help if you need it. Contact your instructor as soon as possible after the exam to explain any issues you had with technology. Get your space ready to take the exam. Make sure you have comfortable seating and adequate light, hydration, and snacks. Find a reliable clock or watch and make sure you pay attention to the time. Eliminate or minimize distractions. This can include phones, people, noises, and be sure to let others in your household know that you are writing an exam. Here is some advice for writing take-home exams. First, don't write more than you need to. More is not always better, and writing more than required sometimes leads to more mistakes. Second, pay close attention to the questions and use them to guide or structure your responses. For example, if a question has 3 parts, your answer should too. If the question asks you to define and explain, start with a definition and then offer a detailed explanation. Finally, use sources effectively, but don't use more than required. In particular, don't waste time researching additional sources if they're not required. Remember, including sources without appropriate citations is considered plagiarism. In addition, give yourself enough time and take breaks. Complete your draft within the recommended time limit. Save your work frequently, and allow yourself enough time to review and revise your work. Remember, you're not alone. There are supports available on campus, including tutors, workshops, and tip sheets at the Academic Learning Center. Academic Learning Center tutors will work with students on take-home exams if the instructor has provided written permission for this kind of help. Please contact the Academic Learning Center by email or phone with any questions.